One of the biggest goals that people have when they get into making money online, whether they're brand new or they've been doing it for a while, is to quit their 9-to-5 job. I mean, why wouldn't you? We live in a day and age now where you can go ahead and get yourself a phone, get yourself a laptop, and if you have the right skills and the right system, you can go out there and make enough money to replace your job, or ideally, tenfold. So in this video, what we're going to talk about is not only how I was able to go out there and quit my job at the age of 19 by learning the skills of online business, but most importantly, the exact step-by-step framework that we run our clients through to ensure they can go from complete beginners with no experience to getting the skills required and the income required to ultimately quit their job and do this stuff full time, just like my clients, Chris, Craig, and countless others. Now, for many people, the main reason why they want to quit their job and go out there and do online business full time, you are time free. You can go out there and you can work on whatever hours you want, whatever schedule you want. You don't have to clock in, clock out, be in a certain place at a certain time, or spend half your day in traffic. Because your online business runs on your own schedule, you get the freedom to spend your time really however you want. Not only can you have all the time in the world, but most importantly, you can make as much money as you'd like, as long as you're willing to commit and stay with it for the long run. But we're not talking about making $1 billion today. What we're talking about is how to get to the point where you can just quit your job and go all in on online business so that you can make that a reality. Now, when we work with our clients, these are the same rules that I applied to myself when I started. There's a few specific things we need to have in place in order for us to pull the trigger and fire our boss. So let's dive into those now. The first thing we need is the right model. You see, when you go onto YouTube or TikTok or Google, whatever it may be, there is 1,000,001 different business models that you could pick to go out there and start making money online. The catch is, not all of them are created equally. Outside of the complete scams, there are a bunch of business models that frankly just don't work as well as you'd like. And we have a bunch of videos on this channel breaking down what are the best business models, what are the business models that I would rather prefer you avoid. We have a bunch of videos on this channel, but what we recommend here is something called the Ecom Boss system, or organic dropshipping. It's a simple business model, it's beginner friendly, that works, that doesn't require a ton of capital up front, and you can run it with about 30 minutes a day worth of work. If you want to learn how to do it, there's videos linked below. There's videos all over my channel on exactly how the system works. Check those out. You can go through those and start making money with it. But the key is picking the right model that works for you. You see, when you're a beginner and you're working a full-time job, you only have a certain amount of time each day. You only have a certain amount of patience, right? If something's not working, you want to make sure you're getting results in fairly quickly. The last thing is you only have so much capital. Whether it is 2 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand, we're not expecting you to go out there and have 50 grand to invest into stock, or 150, 200K to invest into something even bigger. We're expecting that you got a little bit of capital, a little bit of time, and a little bit of patience, so you need to make sure that the business model you choose reflects that. The next thing you need is the right target. The bottom line is, from my experience and the experience of my clients, all you really need is to either match your current income for a few consecutive months or earn double what you make for a couple of months. And here's the reason why. If you can earn around the same amount of money per month that you would make at your job, and you can do it consistently for a few months, then there's proof of concept. I'm not talking about doing it for 1 month and then slamming your foot on the brakes and going, that's it, I'm quitting, I'm leaving, and you've been doing it for like 3 weeks. That wouldn't make sense. We're looking for about 3 months or so of consistency at that same amount of income you've been making at your job. If you can do it for a few months in a row, you can do it for longer. On the flip side, if you get really good and you're starting to speed through everything, and you're earning double the amount of money you would normally make, or even more than that, if you're able to do that for 2 months, 2.5 months, or 3, if you're to that point where clearly you're making more than your job, then you're actually really losing money by being at your job when you could be doing it on this. Think about it this way. If you're making 5 grand per month at your job, and then after getting the skills and building your business up, you hit 10 grand in this month, and then 12 grand in this month. Well, at that point, we've got that first month, which is cool, but it could be a fluke, right? Still, you don't want to go ahead and count your chickens before they hatch. If you hit a second month where it's the same or more, and it's really outweighing what you would make at your job, then quite frankly, you're losing money. Because the time that you spent working at your job for 5 grand, you could have been spending working on your business to take it from 10 to 12 grand to 20 grand to 22 grand, right? And at that point, we want to pull the trigger. Now, the third thing we have to have in place is the right safety net. Because if you go out there and you say, have 2 amazing months, 3 amazing months, and you quit your job, but you have no safety net, which is no savings, nothing put aside, and no room for any emergencies, well, then you got a bit of a problem. You want to make sure you're being safe and you're being smart about this stuff. The reason why we want to match your current income is because whatever you make at your job, that's what has allowed you to sustain the rent, your mortgage, your expenses, all the things you need to pay for. That allows us to meet our current expenses. That's really, really key. That's why we want to match at the very least what we're making at our job. But on the flip side, what happens if there's an emergency? What happens if you have a down month in your business? You want to make sure, ideally, you have about 3 months worth of what you would make or what you would save after that current pay cycle in your bank account. for the sake of emergencies, for the sake of unexpected expenses that pop up. Because if you don't have that, it can put you in a position where you're really stressing out as you work in your business, because if there was one little accident that happened, you can be completely wiped out. That's why you want to make sure you have a bit of a safety net there, just in case something goes wrong. Match your current income, have a little safety net, and you should be good to go. And this is exactly what we do with our clients. When they come in, we're not expecting them to put in 1,000,000 hours a day. We start them off about 30 minutes a day to go through the learning, to work with our one-on-one coach, to get the skills and start making sales of the products that we choose with them. Once you've got income, once you've got sales coming in, we might dedicate a bit more time, a bit more energy, a bit more focus. We've got an hour a day, maybe a little bit more, to really push the needle forward and get to the point where we can match their current income. Once you match their current income, hold it, get a bit of consistency for a little while. Then from there, they can scale it up and keep pushing as far as they want, because they have all the time in the world to dedicate solely towards their business. That's what this whole thing's about. Get the skills, get the money in, get to that point where you can take that leap, and ultimately, that's when everything can change for you. And the biggest thing is, whether it takes you 2 months, 3 months, or whether it takes you 2 to 3 years, as long as you're not willing to stop, as long as you're not willing to give up too early, if you follow the right plan with the right coach and dedicate the right amount of time, you will succeed. So make sure you check the links below, check out all the videos on my channel. We've got countless tutorials and videos for you to kickstart your online journey, and I think you're gonna love it. But for now, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.